Welcome to the Success Pick and Mix podcast. I'm your host, Nicky Raby, a professional pick and mixer. I'm a personal brand coach, a speaker, an actor, a creator, and a podcaster. I'm on a mission to help you find and create your version of success. Your pick and mix of life and business on your terms. A blend that complements your personality, your goals, and your circumstances. Since 2018, I've been sharing interviews and mini episodes to help you unlock your next step, to make it real and make it happen. Round here, we dream big. We go for the ideal version. We talk about money and make moves our future selves would be proud of. This podcast is free and available for you whenever you need it. So do rate, review, and subscribe for new episodes. If you want to go deeper with my support, check out my freebies house and unlock the rooms you choose. nickyraby.com/freebies house. I also have workshops, programs, and one-on-one bespoke offerings. For prices and availability, go to nickyraby.com. Thank you, as always, for spending some time with me and my guests. Now, on to today's episode. In today's episode, I am talking to Keziah Brown, who is the founder of Heaps and Stacks. I've known of Heaps and Stacks for many years now and have worked alongside them. I've been brought on for various events and have really loved working alongside such a fantastic team of innovators and creatives. And when I think of Heaps and Stacks, for me, it's about really flipping ideas upside down and looking at things in a different way. And in this culture of step by step or following what other people do or really listening to trends, I don't think they do that. I think they are true innovators. You may have seen some of their work online, maybe you've seen it in person as well, but they create really excellent experiences for brands, for new product lines. And I often think it's that feeling of bringing the theatre or the film version of the product or the service to life. So when you go to one of their events, you feel like you're fully immersed in the experience and you're really having that sensory experience of all parts of the brand. I love my chat with Kez. I think she's such an interesting person. I think she's brave. I think she's bold. I think she's courageous. And as you'll hear in the interview, it's just about taking steps forward again and again. And I know we want to, sometimes I know I do, make it more complicated than that or think that we have to wait a long time. But it is just as simple as that. Taking moves, making moves, taking steps in the direction of where you want to go. I hope you enjoyed the episode and I'll see you on the other side. Bye. Kez, welcome. I'm so delighted to invite you to the podcast to share a bit more about your story. I know a little bit, but I know lots has changed. So if you wouldn't mind just starting there, like who you are, what you do, etc.
Yeah, completely. Thanks so much for having me. So I'm Keziah Wildsmith. I'm founder and director of Heaps and Stacks, and we're an event production company, and we specialise in influencer and press launches for lots of big, sexy brands. So everything from kind of Longchamp, Selfridges, and through to Very Liquid and Tesco's. So yeah, high end to low end and everything else in between, fashion, beauty, lifestyle, bit of tech. Yeah, we do all kinds of different outputs for different industries, but I guess the sort of creative thread through everything is experiences that are sort of super detailed and well thought out with lots of different touch points for people to share online. And that's kind of us in a nutshell.
Amazing. It's like my vision board coming to life. You know, you have to have the high-end stuff, but you know, a good cleaning product is always in there.
Yes.
How did you begin, and how did you go from somebody knowing what you were good at, knowing your skill set, to, and I think we've spoken about this before, when you had that moment of beginning to recognize maybe where the gaps were, or that moment that we all have of like, I think I would do that, but I would do this as well, or I definitely wouldn't do that. How did you switch from working alongside other people to saying, actually, I think I'm a director, even though it might not have necessarily happened in a sort of showbiz moment of like, I think I'm the main character here. How did that transition begin?
I think, yeah, I worked in lots of different agencies that sort of work in a similar way to us, but not quite the same, and learned the kind of ropes. And I guess I was in a really small agency at the time. There was probably about 4 of us, and I was one of the sort of, yeah, I was only probably 25 or 26, still really young, but I was one of the main people like pulling all the work together. And I was kind of like, you know, how hard could it be? I can do this. I know how to do the jobs, and the management bit looks easy. And I was actually, in hindsight, completely naive.
Fine. That's good to admit as well.
Naive and deluded, perhaps. But I think lots of founders would probably say the same thing. Like, you don't know what you don't know. And actually it's more about confidence and energy and being willing to give things a try and work out what you don't know. And I think, yeah, we started very small. So we started as a workshop agency, or that's what I was sort of calling it at the time. And our first client was Google, and that just came about via Instagram. Yeah, good. I was like, this is pretty good.
Google, that's
started an Instagram account, got a job with Google. Yeah, you know, lot of like, there's a lot of luck involved, but you know, I also believe that you sort of make your own luck. And I was, at the time, for the agency I was working at, I was really into growing our agency's Instagram. So I was very like avidly stalking people and following them down, and like making sure that that agency was following all the right people that were managing the events for the brands. And then when I started my own agency, I was like, hey, I know where all the perfect clients are there. I've added them all to my old agency's list. So I went through that list and then added them all, add. And yeah, I guess it was, yeah, showing up at the right place with things that didn't exist, and doing it in a way that was actually really low risk and low value for the brands at the time. So yeah, we definitely priced ourselves probably really way too low, but you know, good way to be able to build up great case studies and great brand names on your sort of brand deck about you. And we didn't have any overheads or anything like that, so it was more about gathering a bit of momentum at that point, rather than let's make loads of money. It was more like, what cool stuff can we do, what brands can we work with, and how can we start gathering a bit of traction.
Yes, and I love that what you said about creating your own luck, because sometimes people feel like that creating your own luck is about, I don't know, energetically being in some space on a mountain. And actually, it's sometimes just being really logical of saying, okay, these are the people I need to contact. How can I get them onto the same spreadsheet? So when I come and contact them, I can do that really easily and effectively and be able to actually do the thing. Because there are so many hurdles if you allow those to be in the way sometimes. Because you have to, it's almost, I'm reading a book with my son at the moment about an aardvark, and this aardvark just kind of keeps creating new tunnels. And there's so many similarities in businesses that sometimes if you can't go anywhere, you just have to create your own new tunnel. And that can be scary sometimes, because you don't necessarily know what's at the other side, but you just got to keep going forward. And secondly as well, I think what you said about undercharging, it's sometimes great in the beginning. It's much better that way than overcharging and then going, oh gosh, we just don't know what we're doing, you know, really getting embroiled in the situation and moving forward. So how did you begin to transition into really beginning to expand your team, expanding your menu of services and offerings? And how did that process look, I guess, from all angles, all different prongs of financially feeling confident that you could budget in that way, energetically, logistically. How did you figure that out as you went along?
Yeah, I guess giving it a bash. I
Yeah.
think yeah, we were able to yeah, I left my full-time job when I was about 27, and we were at a point where we'd done a number of different small, really small events with brands, and we'd just been booked on a festival that summer. And I definitely needed to take time off work to produce the event for the festival. So I was like, now's the time. Let's do this. I think we can make it work. And, you know, if it doesn't work, don't have an office, I'll just get another job. I'm working from home. So I just kind of took a bit of a leap. And yeah, that was, and then the fear of knowing that you're quitting your job on X date means that you're like blitzing the new biz and just calling in favors.
Yeah.
Seeing what you can do, really. Just you've got your deadline to work to. So I think step number one, quit your job and
Yeah.
let the fear set in.
Yeah.
And then our first full-time member of staff was she was just a freelancer. So I was too scared to have anyone on the payroll because I'm like, this is too much of a commitment. Don't know how it works, don't understand. Let's just have a freelancer, and you know, if it doesn't work out, doesn't work out. That's the beauty of freelancers, right?
Yeah.
And so we had freelancer, and we had maybe 2 or 3 interns who were just sort of floating around, and definitely not very not well what's the word, not well interviewed. Some of them I don't think I even interviewed. I was just like, oh, you want to work for us, do you? Brilliant, you're in.
Great. Let's go. Here's the list.
You're in. I've learned later life you do need to interview people. That is a top tip.
Some questions, get some good answers.
Yeah, you know the people that you're working with first before just accepting any old Tom, Dick and Harry. But anyway, I needed to move fast, needed to get things done. Bit of a one-man band, trying to gather a bit of pace. And yeah, actually some of the interns that turned up that I didn't interview were actually great, and they stuck with us for a while. And we were just able to eventually get into a really cheap little office, which was like such a low rent. I think it was like £600 a month. Didn't have any Wi-Fi, didn't have any heating, was just a space. Yeah. It was almost like a unit where we could just keep all of our stuff. We've obviously got loads of props, and we had our prop area, which was up to the ceiling with just pots and pans and all different kinds of plants and succulents and loads of different things, just completely overflowing. And then our other little area of the office, which was 2 IKEA desks with about 4 people, well, 2 on each desk, all completely crammed in. And we had a Wi-Fi dongle, and we had 2 electric plug-in heaters, and it was just really absolutely like comedy budget situation. And we were just literally just going for it in this ramshackle place. And yeah, just calling up different old clients from different jobs, and speaking to friends that works at brands, and just doing the absolute all we could, putting on different events and inviting different brands down for different free nights where we would set dress spaces and hold workshops and things like that. So really just trying to like do absolutely as much as we can. And from there, freelancers turned into full-time people, because I was like, hey, we need a bit of, or actually these people are good, we want them to stay, we need a bit of security. And we started employing more people, again, like very quite a lot of like entry level people, because I was a sort of newbie manager, and I was like, well, we definitely can't afford anyone good, like really good, because they're going to be too expensive. So we need to go for people that are going to be affordable, because otherwise the overheads are going to be massive, and then how are we ever going to be able to achieve that and all that kind of stuff. So didn't want to put loads of pressure on myself. But then in the same breath, you learn that the more junior people, actually they need a lot of management, and they can't just run off and do things and know what you're thinking and know what the next step is. So I slowly learned that we needed a few more middle to more senior people, and we've just yeah, I guess it's been super organic. We've never had any investment or anything like that. I'm still the only owner of the business. And yeah, we've just been able to train people up, bring in more senior people. We've split our team into creative and production now. Previously, everyone just did everything. And now we've got like a proper creative team with a creative director and everything. Um,
What a
as it,
dream.
yeah. And they do all kinds of techie stuff that I just don't even understand, like visuals and renders and all that kind of cool stuff. And come up with ideas that I could have never have dreamt of. And then the production side, now have a million more templates and processes and ways of doing things, and producers on our team that are a lot more experienced than I was when I started the business. So yeah, we're at a place where I'm working with people that are super talented and yeah, like the hottest people in the industry basically, and we've been able to
That's
catch,
what's fun. That's
catch
what.
them.
And how have you changed as a leader, and how did you move into that role and that state and have that command? Because for many of us, I would put myself in this category for sure, was berated for being a bit bossy or knowing our own mind or knowing all of the things. And then you become an adult and you might say to yourself, maybe quietly, probably loudly, I was right, because in order to make stuff happen, somebody needs to take charge. There needs to be a process in this. But yet then there might be that little imposter syndrome of like, but I don't know everything and I'm still young or whatever, all of the things.
Yeah.
How have you navigated that role from, I've got a great idea, I'd quite like to run this as my own gig, to I'm the only person in the business who is at the top of this umbrella?
Yeah, I think when I left my real main job, I wasn't really, I had, a few people reporting into me here and there, but definitely like just occasionally on jobs. I didn't really even have anyone that I regularly managed. So I was definitely a new, even manager rather than leader. So that's kind of step one.
Yeah.
So I didn't really know, if we're honest, but so with that in mind, I guess I sort of took a bit of hints from what I'd seen around the place. And I assumed that to be a leader, you needed to be very like unapproachable and reserved and in control and feel quite powerful and maybe emotionless and faultless and all these other things that
Separate from everybody
which
else.
leaders obviously just aren't. But you feel like that's the sort of historic way leaders have been leaders. So I gave that bash for a bit. But actually that's so not who I am, and was probably quite apparent.
Yeah.
That I gave that bash for, I don't know, a few months, and then I was like, actually no. I think I can't remember what book I read, but I definitely read a book and it was like, just be your authentic self and be you.
Guys,
And
I've read a book, I've read it in a weekend. We're doing
read
things
it. I
differently.
definitely didn't read it. It was probably an audiobook, but
Yeah, sure.
I read something. I was like, bloody hell, that's insightful. Maybe I can do that. That sounds easier.
Yeah.
And yeah, just started literally just being myself. And I was just like, so I've always been super passionate and able to like get people excited about an idea and energize teams. And I think that's a big part of it. But I think just being honest with people and being like, I started this company when I was 26. Letting people know that they're probably more experienced than you in this is super powerful for them. They feel great about that. And if you don't know something, just fess up and just say, I don't really know. What do you guys think? Share a bit of the responsibility around. I think that's always a good way of doing things. And now I'm not so involved in the day-to-day projects. A lot of that's kind of, those responsibilities are shared out amongst the team. But I guess we now, as a team slightly bigger, we all have a lot clearer sort of what sits with who and where the buck stops,
Yeah.
kind of thing. If it's projects, it will be with a producer team, and if it's creative, for the creative team, and if it's like, you know, serious legal contract something, that's probably going to land on me. But which is like, why is it landing on me? I don't know.
Yeah, that seems like the boring stuff, like, oh, this is not why I came into it. But you're right that there's a power in actually saying to everybody, even though I'm at the top, essentially, we're all in this together. And then that relieves a bit of the responsibility, because I know from myself and many other people that I sort of know who run their own thing, we want to have a life as well, and we want to do other things outside of work. And actually the end goal is not to be working 18-hour days, be checking your phone and putting your mental health in the bin on a Friday and then hoping it will pop up on Monday, refreshed and restored. So if we move now, I guess, talking of mental health, as we into the pandemic, and you having an experienced in-person mainly based business, how did that moment change things? And how did you, I mean, I can't believe I'm using this navigate word, because it's but how did you make very quick decisions to be able to maneuver your business and you and your employees through that unpredictable time?
I guess we did our last event, I think it was something like the 17th of March or something, can't remember the exact date. It was quite late on in March, and all the guests a few days before were suddenly cancelled, and it's suddenly going to be a virtual event, and we were like, we've never done a virtual event before, what's a virtual event? How does that work? So this seems like a bit of a waste of money, but we did our first virtual event before COVID lockdown even began. And once we were packing up for that event, all the crew kind of said goodbye to each other, and everyone sort of left being like, well, this is probably the last time we're going to see each other for a while. And it was a very strange like end to the event, and everyone sort of walked their separate ways off down Oxford Street, and the Oxford Street was just completely abandoned. Like, well, bye then.
Love you.
See you, maybe. And that was that. And then I moved to the country to stay with my sort of in-laws, and we had a few events which were sort of penciled, and slowly they all got cancelled, and I was like, shit, this is really bad. This is really, really bad. What are we gonna do? And so sort of a month into that, then we furloughed quite a lot of the team, and the jobs really were drying out. We didn't really have anything on. We were doing a lot of like marketing stuff to keep us busy, like coming up with different ideas and different decks. And we started selling card packs that you could send to your friends with like stamps and dried flowers and things to make good cards. And we were like, this is maybe quite helpful and quite sweet. And, you know, what else can we really do? It feels quite us. Maybe give something a bash, see what happens. So we did that. And then we started getting briefs in from the brands we'd been working with anyway on their events for mailers and kind of packaging kits, because obviously at that point we worked with lots of beauty brands, and they'd made the products and they still needed to get press on them, and they still needed to sell them. So they've made all these things thinking they're going to be able to...
Still buying as well. That was the bizarre thing, that people were still sitting at home like, what fun package can I get to my house today?
A lot of people were shopping more than ever. I think there was a boom for beauty because people just felt so sad and they wanted to perk themselves up. But yeah, we did. So that basically kicked us off with doing loads of mailers, and we were sort of steady over the summer, a few mailers here and there. So packaging kits, lovely product boxes, kind of have these like super fantastic unboxing moments to be captured on social. Kate, who's our creative director now, started about a week before COVID, and she started as a graphic designer and art director, a bit of a combo role. And she comes from a sort of alcohol packaging background. Just so happens she slides in a week before COVID. Like, this is just... I'm just thanking my lucky stars. And yeah, Kate was really handy in being able to kind of let us know what suppliers to work with and how to elevate what we're doing and how to make stuff look more slick and more luxury. And yeah, we slowly, by about September of 2020, we just had so many briefs coming in left, right and centre for just really fun packaging solutions. And that ran through everything from kind of like virtual events, you know, all the classics that everyone was doing, online mixology workshops and online events and online this, that, the other. And we really did everything, and we did that for all of 2020 and then pretty much all of 2021 as well, because there was still so much nervousness in 2021. We did events here and there, but really here and there, sporadic, because people got chickened out and, you know, the guests couldn't get over, or then there was another lockdown at Christmas. It was just like one thing after the next. So yeah, we had a really stop-start few years, but the mailers were actually super profitable, and we started working with lots of different clients that maybe we wouldn't have been able to otherwise, because we sort of appeared at a time when maybe our competitors weren't necessarily doing as much. And we're like, hey, we're doing this, it looks great, and really sort of absolutely going hell for leather on all the marketing. And yeah, we were just able to pick up a lot of new clients during that time that to do mailers. And then now out the other side, a lot of them have converted to working with us on events. So yeah, it's been it was a time of like massive change with how we work as a business, what we do, what our output is, what we're gunning for, like getting to know ourselves a bit better, like what's our tone of voice and what's appropriate for us and what are our values. There was loads of time to just do loads of thinking alongside all of this, when we'd normally be on site or packing a van or
yeah, I've seen you that, you know, you as a team, that suddenly two of you will have we've got to go, we'll see you in a bit, right? Okay, where are they going, what are they doing? So yeah, and I think having that, I think we all sort of had a bit more sort of space where we could almost, you know, you can either look at tread water as sort of something quite stressful and like, oh my goodness, when is this ever going to end? But sometimes just relaxing into it, it gives you all those ideas and different perspectives and maybe things that you've forgotten about as well. So in terms of working with clients, how have you, sorry, there's my computer lead. How have you built that trust and those return clients? Because I know lots of my clients want to gain that consistency, that integrity, that reliability in terms of their brands. That I think as well, you know, if you are somebody that provides a service, that you want people as you leave to go, that was really good, wasn't it? Yeah, let's do that thing again. And I'm sure it's the same with Heaps and Stacks. How have you maintained and cultivated those relationships?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think I was actually chatting to somebody about this yesterday. I think obviously we're in the business of selling cool ideas, right? That's what we're flogging. But you know, if you employ the right people, getting the cool ideas isn't necessarily that hard. That's a bit of it, but actually what mostly the clients are buying is working with people that they really like and they really trust. And I think from most of our clients, that is really what they're after. They want somebody to take this big job off their hands, make sure it's super smooth, make sure that the budget's really easy to understand, and if anything changes along the way, which inevitably it always does, has it been communicated? Is it super clear? Do we know where we need to be at the right times, and do we know what we need to wear? And just making sure that the whole process of creating this cool idea is actually really enjoyable. So I think that's been something that I've been really like picking my way through recently and trying to actually elevate. And I think it's about creating that trust throughout the whole journey, right from pitch stage. So, you know, meeting up with them face to face, not just taking a call, like getting to know them, booking somewhere that's relevant for the brand or relevant for the brief, and maybe we're always trying now to, before we pitch something back, always trying to do a tissue session. So again, you can like get to know them a bit further and work out what's right for them. You know, we've come up with a new, it's like such a cute little thing, but if we don't win a pitch, we've now got, and I'm hoping that this doesn't happen too much, but I've bought a few cards, and if we don't win a pitch, we'll write them a handwritten card and say, "Dear Nicky, thanks so much for having me in to pitch for XYZ. Really, you know, sorry we couldn't pull it out the bag for you this time, but let's stay in touch and we hope we can next time," type thing. So really like continuously showing up, being reliable, having the same tone of voice, and guiding the whole process along.
And that really builds that longevity and that sort of long-term relationship. I think that's the thing is, I know sometimes with my clients, if they're trying to share their services with clients, it's like, well, they said no. We had this meeting and like, well, they didn't want that one thing that I was selling. So they almost do the equivalent of like, right, that's it then, get out. And actually, it isn't about that. It's showing up now and showing up from 5 years ago, from the next 10 years, that consistent thing. I've certainly found that in my acting, where I spoke to a casting director the other day and she was like, I've been seeing you for 20 years. I was like, I know. I still look the same. No, but it's that reliable, like, I'm going to show up and do a job, and maybe if this job is not right, it's all right. There'll be another job, there'll be another way, and it's all good.
Yeah, exactly. Making people feel like at ease the whole way through the process. But I also think that actually comes down to hiring the right people. Yeah. We go to a lot of effort of making sure that, especially the producers who are sort of the account managers, that they are people that you want to hang out with, and they're people that are cool, and they're people that you like and you want to chat to. And I think for me, that, especially when I'm working with suppliers or different agencies, I'm like, if it's somebody that you don't gel with, you're like, oh, gotta have a call with blah blah, and they don't get it and they're not on the same page. So I think it's also like a personality thing as well, and making sure, likewise from a sort of management point of view, that we're checking in to be like, do you like working with that person? If not, can we swap them out? Or is there something that they're doing that's bugging you? Or getting a bit of feedback from clients from a sort of more senior level as well. So yeah, there's a million things you can do.
Yeah, I love it. Because I think sometimes people just see it as very black and white, like they had a nice time or they didn't. And there's so many things as a business that you can tweak along the way. So what's next? Where are you going? What's this year? The pandemic is over.
It's over.
What are you building? What are you cooking? What's happening?
Yeah, all so much stuff. I guess the leadership team are like slowly stepping up and taking more and more off my plate, but that means I'm suddenly like, I've got more time on my hands, and what do I fill it with?
More of those books about being a leader.
I am reading
that person in a coffee shop, just like, this is what I do now.
Yeah, I am constantly reading books, but also we've had a few jobs that have sort of landed on us that maybe aren't our normal sort of scope. So we've had toolkits from different brands, so creating like global toolkits for events and mailers and packaging, and actually they've been really nice projects that we've really enjoyed and have had some brilliant outcomes, and been able to work with some really like nice high profile brands. So yeah, definitely want to keep pushing our toolkits, because in terms of like work-life balance for the team, it's actually quite nice to be at a desk for a few days rather than constantly being out on site. So that creates a nice sort of tempo. And we've also been doing a few shoots alongside our events. So we've worked recently with Nike and Office on a number of shoots, and we'll create the campaign images that then are used maybe on their website and at the event as well. So it fits in, it makes our event look more sort of cohesive, and it sort of makes sense as it's all in one place, or one-stop shop. So wanting to build out our shoots and our toolkits as like nice add-ons for clients. And then after that, you know, just constantly tweaking and tinkering and trying to make things tighter and slicker. And I went to a B Corp talk last week, and I met somebody who's been telling me all about the 1% for the Planet scheme. So I'm super keen to start rolling that out. And I also want to get an office in a different location. So
lovely. Let's manifest that. Where do you want this office? Anyone who's listening on the podcast, where do you want to be? The show.
I'm not sure. Somebody last night was telling me New York, but I'm not sure if that's for me. I think probably Amsterdam. Just in terms of being able to get there a bit more sustainably. I like the city.
Yes.
They speak English. There's a lot of good perks there. So I'm thinking Amsterdam, but the jury's still out. Could
Watch
be
Ibiza. Watch the space. If people want to come and find you, find out more, or if they're a brand who's listening and go, oh, this sounds very interesting, these are the sort of people I want to work with, where should they go?
They can go to our website, which is heaps-stacks.com, or they can go to our Instagram, which is heaps_stacks. And our little logos, this orange logo, and we'll be the first one you see.
Course. And your website is great. It's got so much good, lovely stuff. And you know what? I know you have it on your out of office, but honestly, you guys are like the queen of decks. I think you just create like just the most, it's just all so clear, like what you do, where you're going, all of that sort of stuff. So anyway, thank you so much for being such a brilliant guest. And I just wish you all the best and long may it continue.
Thank you. And you, Nikki. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye. Thanks so much for listening to today's episode. If you haven't already, feel free to rate, review, and subscribe for all the brand new episodes. If you want to go deeper with my support, check out my freebies house and unlock the rooms you choose. nickyraby.com/freebies house. I also have workshops, programs, and one-on-one bespoke offerings. For prices, availability, or just to have a chat with me, go to nickyraby.com. Thank you, as always, for spending some time with me and my guests, and I'll see you next time.